Canine Detection Collaborative, a detection dog training trio with Stacy Barnett.
Hi.
Robin Greubel.
Hey there.
And Crystal Wing.
What's up?
With humor and a big dose of theory, our trio talks practical training advice and features interviews with top trainers and scientists. It's Canine Detection Collaborative.
Welcome back to Canine Detection Collaborative. I am here with the amazing Stacy Barnett.
Hey.
Oh no. And Robin Greubel.
Greetings.
Sorry. So
so
Crystal just had us laughing, and then she put my name in it, and it was like I couldn't not laugh. Anyway,
double
Hi.
negatives. Hi.
glad to be here.
I tried to start it and then she started yapping, so then I had to be ornery. So they're making me start today because it was kind of my idea for this and they don't know what the idea really is. So here we are.
Well, welcome to it's not a brilliant idea. Let's talk about that.
Welcome to our lives here.
Which we do quite a bit, actually.
Yeah, we do. But it hit me, the idea of, I was watching a friend train and they were like, wow, that dog is just really talented. That dog is really special. And yes, the dog was really talented and was really special, but the dog didn't come out of the womb doing the things the dog was doing. And I think that that's where there's that understanding of, you have to have the right dog, you have to have the right person. And it's not just about talent, but it's also desire. And it's a talent of the human and a talent of the dog, and it has to all come together. And I think sometimes some trainers are like, oh, it's all the dog, and they give no credit to themselves. And so that's also kind of what was tickling my brain. And then sometimes it really is that dog is just something really special, and they bring that trainer along for the ride. I feel like that was Quinn for the first part of our ride, and then
Yes.
I kind of had to keep stepping up to meet him. And then there is that desire piece. Sometimes you can have all the desire in the world and be as dutiful as you want, and the talent just isn't there. And I think there's that unfair piece then of the trainer that gets really, really beat up internally or by others because they aren't getting the success that they feel like they should for the amount of desire that they have. So there's just a lot to be said for talent and desire. So I hope that gives Stacy and Robin a place to kind of riff from. So go.
Okay, now that we know what the topic is, this is great. This is great.
And I see this a lot. And, Talon, which was my first dog.
Which sounds a lot like talent.
It did. He's actually he was named after a baby spaceship on it was a series called Farscape. But so there was a baby Leviathan named Talon. Anyway, so that's where he got his name. And for the beginning part of our relationship, he figured out and did everything in spite of me. And then pretty much was like, hold my beer.
Uh-huh.
We'll just go do the thing, Mom. Hang on.
Yeah.
And by about the time he hit 7 or 8, we really had meshed as a team. And he then was forgiving enough to allow, because this is also part of him. He's like, yeah, okay, I don't know what you're doing, but I'm going to do this thing, which is what we're supposed to be doing. And I'd be like, okay, I got it. Sorry.
Keep up with the class, Mom. Keep up with the class.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then, your next dog comes along and you're expecting it to be the same thing.
Yeah.
And if you've done, because I'm working in a situation where we're trying to select purpose-bred dogs. And you can actually have a dog that comes in. Moses was one of those dogs. Rhonda selected him and was like, I can't find a home here. Why don't you take him? I'm like, I don't want another dog. And she's like, no, take him just for a few weeks. I don't want another dog. And then somebody's like, no, we'll take him and do FEMA work. No, wait, he's mine. Kind of how that worked. And
Hands off.
Yeah, mine. And, he had 95% of what I needed, and all I had to do was tweak a few things. But in between there, I had dogs that came in and I tried to work with, and I was thinking of Echo for one. I rescued him as a border collie because I wanted another border collie from a pound. He'd never had anybody play with toys with him.
Yeah.
So he didn't know what toys were. I had him worked a long time on toys, a long time on confidence, all of this other, building him up. Think you're awesome. And we go into cadaver dog training one day, and he's like shrinking back to the back end of the crate. I'm good.
Oh,
I don't want to get out. I'm like,
yeah.
That's weird. So I had some friends who did herding work. And I show up with him to herding work. And I went out, literally, you guys, I walked onto the arena and the trainer said, do this. And Echo's like, got it. I'll go get all the sheep and bring them and run them right over you. And I walked out of the ring and they're like, how long have you guys been in training? 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
Yeah.
You need that dog on your farm now, though.
I do. Absolutely. But so it comes into, I looked at Echo and said, you know what? You don't want to do search work. You want to go do herding work. And I let him go do that because that's what he needed to go do.
Yeah.
And so when you start talking about talent, there is natural talent and the genetics that the dogs have that they bring to the table that we then modify to play the dumb game that we want them to play. In order to do that, sometimes you have to have really good training chops. So you as a trainer have to be talented.
Yeah.
It reminds me of the selective. That reminds me of the selective drive that Joe Rosie talked about.
Right. Yeah.
Kind of goes back to what, way back in the day when we were talking to her about that, where we're breeding these dogs for certain characteristics. And so I wonder if, we are able to do that through our breeding programs. So yeah, let's circle back to that after Stacy talks. Sorry.
Yes.
Oh, no, I was just going to say something I feel like I say a lot is genetics do not replace training.
Agreed.
And we just can't, assume like, okay, well, and I think a lot of times people see like a really nice dog working really well. And I think people have a tendency to attribute too much of that to genetics and not enough of it to training, because you could easily take that same dog and make a mess out of them. And I think in a lot of cases, it's actually, with a lot of these dogs, it's actually very easy to do. So if you have a dog, especially with, even if like with drive or, a lot of times it comes with a high arousal, they could become a complete mess pretty quickly. So genetics do not replace.
As I am frantically digging through some of my stuff, because I remember I've seen this happen repeatedly.
Yeah.
Somebody walks in with an extremely, not only do they have an incredibly well-bred dog,
yep,
but then they are also an excellent trainer.
Yep.
And it is like watching poetry in motion.
Yes.
Yep.
And the first thing everybody does is turn to the person, the trainer, the handler, and said, where did you get the dog?
Yeah.
Where did you get your dog?
And it right. And it's really a disservice to both sides of the leash.
Yeah.
Because, it was that particular chemistry with that particular dog and that particular trainer at that particular moment to get this particular team.
Yeah.
And there's a name for that.
Synergy?
What?
Well, it's kind of the survivorship effect. And we learned about that with coaching too.
Okay.
Because something that I always struggled with. So I coached freshman level a lot when I was coaching. So it's volleyball and basketball and softball and cross country and tracks. I mean, I've coached quite a few sports in the high school level and even middle school. And the hardest day of the whole year is cuts.
Oh,
because we have too many kids. And now you're having to figure out as an eighth grader or a freshman, you really don't know. You have to look for that spark.
Yes.
And that's when talent became something really important to me, because here I am kind of crushing this kid, and they may never want to do it again. So there's so much about how you have to approach that. But then that also goes into, I think, our choices of breeding and who we choose.
Yeah.
And with that survivorship effect, a lot of that is we look at the end of the pathway. So we look at those athletes or those musicians or entertainers or whatever it is, and it's who made it through the end. And those are the traits that we should try to find in our little beginners. But that's not what matters in the beginning. And that's, I think, where we get hung up a lot of times. And it's not necessarily what's the most effective, but it's the characteristics of the people that could survive that system. And so for our dogs, it's the same way. So it's the characteristics of the dogs that could survive that trainer's system. And it's just not for every dog. Like, I know that there are certain dogs that I don't mesh with, and I think I had a conversation with Stacy. I was like, are there any dogs you don't like? And we really kind of honed it down to the dogs that I don't get along with. It's typically because there's something that's happening with the trainer that I have something that I don't like. I worked with a trainer that her dog absolutely did not want to do protection sports, did not. And I made the choice for Yukon. He said, I want to chase butterflies. So I said, okay, let's go chase butterflies.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to say that everybody has to do that. But like you said, the dog wanted to go herd.
Yeah.
Right.
And we should let the dog kind of find what they're great at and not force them into something. And then also force them into that. At that point, I don't know if they're even a survivor at the end of that.
And there's no joy. It kind of comes back to titles with dog sports, right? I'm just thinking back to my my own pathway to nose work, right? Where I tried rally and obedience and everything with Judd, and he got an Arch MX, which is a rally master champion in the World Sign of Sport rally, right? His Facebook memory came with this like huge rosette, like the biggest one I've ever gotten. And you know what? I could care less about that rosette because he could have cared less about rally. And I'm just like, yeah, that's nice. But it's because that doesn't even, the title was there, but he did that just because like I asked him to, and it was really hard to get.
Right.
But it was just like this pursuit of this title. It wasn't the pursuit of the connection and excellence and this partnership, right? And I didn't really quite understand, I don't think at that time, to be honest with you. I don't think I got it, because he really was one of my first sport dogs. And I don't think I really got it because I didn't realize like what that really felt like when it really kind of meshed together. And then we got going with nose work, and I was like, oh, wow. This is what it can feel like, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes I think a lot of times people like they want something, but I think they're maybe not realizing the piece that they're missing because they haven't experienced it, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Or they have experienced it and they can't get it again. And I feel like that's where I've been lingering. I have so much desire. And that also can be debilitating to the dog.
Yes.
Because when you have so much desire and you really want them to work out, and it's just not their thing. I'm finally in such a wonderful place with Yukon. We just got back from tracking, and he just, that's the thing that he should be great at. And sometimes he's brilliant, and sometimes he's Yukon. And today,
sometimes he rolls on the article. Right?
Today he was Yukoning around. We get to the first article. I say down, so he understands the game, and he was like, "What'd you say?"
I don't know the word.
I've never heard that word. And then the second article, I tried it again, and he was like, "I don't know what that means." And then the third article, he lays down like 5 feet from it. And he's just looking at me like, I don't know why I did this, but I did. Are you happy? Oh. And it's the sweetest face. And I was talking to Nancy, I'm like, you cannot be mad. Like he is just, it's nothing to be mad about. It's just him and joy and just wholesomeness. And, but I did for a long time have a lot of feelings because he was the dog to do the things. Yeah. And oh my gosh, that desire that I had didn't match his
He has the
desire.
breeding for
Right.
it.
Yeah. It just
Yeah.
our two desires don't match.
And I think about, I've washed dogs.
Yeah.
Echo was one. Ray, I washed her.
What kind of shampoo do you use?
Yeah.
Oh,
she-
but
yeah,
that was the
she's-
dad joke of the day.
That one
It
was pretty
was.
bad.
That was pretty
Oh,
bad.
Can we cut that out,
Sorry.
Zach? No.
You don't need
minus.
to. It's fine. She really likes the strawberry suave shampoo, but I mean, it's really hard because and I work with a lot of people who are like, oh my gosh, I want to do fantastic things with my dogs. Right.
Yeah.
And I actually tell a lot of people, well, okay, if you could do anything, there's all of these fantastic sports that you can do with your dog. You don't have to do search and rescue. You don't even have to do nose work.
Yeah.
You can do fast cat, you can do dock diving, you can do all of this stuff that it actually is fantastic for you.
Yeah. We have so many options with our dogs now.
Oh,
And there's a tray ball is coming. You could, look at Emily Lawrence. You guys are having in for a tracking seminar. She's doing competitive world level
I signed
tracking
up for the virtual level because I can't.
Yay.
with a border collie.
Yeah.
I know she's amazing.
Winning national competitions in IGP.
Right. With a border collie.
Crazy.
Yeah.
And so the biggest thing is finding the interest of what you're interested in and desire. And I think people underestimate the value of having a dog that you actually have to try a whole bunch of different stuff with.
Yep.
That's why most of us become trainers, right?
Right.
The challenging dog makes us become the trainer that we
better
are.
trainer.
They do. They
Right.
do. A better trainer.
And the joy of going through something and finding your tribe of people who are trained like you want to train and feeling the joy of that connection of the bond.
There's nothing better when you have that really talented dog that has the desire for the thing that you want to do.
Yeah.
And on that, the thing that I struggled with, and I hear a lot of people that I help, they will say that there's no way I can ever bring the dog to the potential of what they deserve. I am not good enough for them. And that's also crushing because it's the other side where the dog is so amazing. And I always have to remind myself with Quinn, I always had to say, okay, he doesn't know that there are all kinds of competitions and national level, and he doesn't know all that stuff exists. He's just really super stoked to be out here on this field playing this game with me right now. And it is hard though, because you can see that potential and you so desperately want to just be the person and the trainer that you can to bring him to that point. But you just, you have to step back and take that pressure off yourself and just know if I can get 1% better every day. I mean, that's just a great goal to have, just 1%. If I can learn one new thing every day about the thing I'm passionate about, I mean, think about how much more amazing you're going to be anyway, but just set it lower. You don't have to be perfect right now. Well, you're never going to be perfect. So good luck with that.
No kidding.
Then you have the other situation where you have this is where, the talent doesn't, or genetics don't replace training, where you may have a really talented dog, but if you misapply the training, you're going to end up with a mess. And I have a little bit of a story there that's not dog related actually, but it is animal related. Going back to when I was doing road dressage with horses way back before I did dogs, right? And the horse I got, it was a Swedish warmblood. His name was Severn. And I bought him for like $8,000, right? But he was originally for sale for like $65,000. And this is where you have like an ultra talented horse and the person riding him pushes too hard. And I literally had to sign a waiver to buy him because he was that messed up.
Wow.
And it was like, if you take a really talented animal and if you apply so much pressure and just misapply and misapply training, that genetic package may not come out the way you want, I guess is kind of what I'm trying to say. And that's like, it's not like you take like this ultra talented dog, and if you do nothing, all right, you're still going to have this ultra talented dog. But if you have this ultra talented dog and then you pressure the heck out of it, you may not have anything. It's kind of like that other side of it too. So even if you have like a really crazy talented dog, you still have to be thoughtful about how you train, and
you have to be thoughtful about. Michael Ellis was somebody when I was getting Dash. He has a puppy program.
Yep.
And I bought it, and it was very good. And the one line out of that entire like long video series or whatever that he did that really, really stuck with me was, you take that puppy and you treat that puppy like it is the working dog that you have always looked for your entire life.
Yep.
And you invest in that dog.
Really good advice.
I think I just paraphrased and maybe added the invest part, but that's okay. And, but it was one of those things that along with all of the other stuff, I just realized for the first time in 17 weeks, because Flash is now 17 weeks old. By the time you guys probably listen to this, she'll be 18 weeks.
How did that happen?
I know, right? That I left her at home when I went into town.
Growing up.
Right. Because up until this point, she has gone with me in the car everywhere. We get out, we go potty, we play, we go back in the car.
Yeah.
We run on rubble piles. We go do bumpers. We go do all of these things. Because I'm in every one of those interactions, I'm investing in her to be the working dog that I want her to be. And she has a lot of raw talent.
Yep.
But you can't be a ballerina or a NFL linebacker on talent and alone. You still need technique.
Yeah.
And that takes me back to, I went to that Kelly Connell seminar a couple weeks ago in Kansas.
That sounded super.
Yeah, it was great. And she talked about that. It was such a great reminder of treat your dog like the dog you want them to be. And that means don't just give them choices straight away. Yeah. Because if you ask them questions that you don't know the answer to, you're probably not going to like the answer. And if you ask them questions that you do know the answer and it's not going to be an answer you like, then don't ask the question. Yeah. So they're not ready for you to ask questions. They need to have the habit built to be able to work, to be able to know what you expect. So it's take them to that place, and it's not just acclimate forever. You don't want a dog that you have to convince that every time you go somewhere that they have to get used to an environment. And no, when you go to the place, you get out, you work. This is what we do. This is the habit that we form. And that's the way that you take that talented dog and you bring them to their potential as you create that habit. And so anything that you expect, that's what you should practice, that consistency. Yeah. And so if you're not practicing that consistency and you're not creating that habit, please don't ask them questions because they're not ready. You don't know what they're going to answer. So don't give them the choice. They're not ready for choices. It's just like when I am in school, a lot of teachers will say, they're way back in the day, this is 20 years ago, especially, I don't know what they say now, but they're like, don't smile until Christmas, And so the idea is that you're stern and you're strict and you set these rules and you set these expectations, and people don't actually do that. Okay. But it's just the idea.
Really?
Yeah. But it's just the idea.
I can't imagine you not smiling, which goes back to our pre-conversation before we hit record. Yeah.
But the idea was to be strict and be set and create your expectations. And then you can always lighten them up as you go. But it's almost impossible to start off by, hey, free for all, do whatever you want. Oh, and now I want you to be disciplined and I want you to do the thing. It's not fair. I wouldn't do that to a human. And I'm especially not going to ask that of a dog. It's just not fair. And so if you really think about your desire, that's where you also have to match it with your learning theory and having the right tribe and having the right mentors to set you up for success and know what you expect and hold those expectations through consistency.
Yes.
So it reminds me of I hear this phrase all the time when I see people training from a nose work perspective, right? I hear, let's see what happens.
Oh, danger, Will Robinson, danger.
Yeah. Right. I'm like, no, let's not see what happens. Let's be prepared. Let's have a plan. Let's have an exit strategy. Let's whatever, right?
Let's teach it first, and then
Yes.
let's talk about asking questions. Teach it first.
Let's see what happens is let's test the crap out of it before we teach it. No, we don't do that.
We don't do this because it's because we don't want the dog to learn inadvertently the wrong thing.
Yeah.
Don't let him rehearse stuff you don't want.
Yeah, like if you're not confident that you can do the thing with a dog on the start line, that's not the time to doing the thing. It's just not no.
And if you're lucky, and I've had, Nico is an incredibly strong dog. I have done a pretty good job of, Janie picked Nico and said, "Here, this one is yours. It's the smallest puppy." Now he's like a scorpion werefoot. Yeah. Don't do that.
Yukon was the same. Yukon was the smallest, and now he's the biggest.
What? Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So don't go by who's the smallest puppy.
Sorry, I don't believe that. I think you lies.
And
we'll have to share some baby puppy pictures of them.
Yes.
Yes.
There are times you're just like, wow, that didn't present how I thought it would. And Nico's like, "Don't worry, I got it, Mom."
Right.
And I'm like, dude,
that's Prize. Prize is like is doing weird stuff. I almost got us into expletive territory. It's doing weird stuff. Like, got it, Mom. Where Bravo would be like, and I'm like, whoa, that didn't go. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But some of that, some of it's genetics. Some of it is also the evolution of us as trainers.
Oh yes. Yeah. Absolutely. 1,000%.
That's one of those things that I think people might not. Sometimes they're like, "Well, oh my gosh, your dog looks like that," and I'm like, "Yeah, that's because I'm like dog number 15."
Yeah, I'm like messing up my dog's lesson less as I go.
Yes, but and I also get the whole. But oh my gosh, I don't want to do this because I don't want to mess up my dog. And my answer is, don't worry, you're just going to mess them up in different ways than you did the last dog, and it's okay.
Yeah.
But your skill as a trainer is the fact that you can recognize the inklings of oh my gosh, that was slightly wrong. And in about 3 months, if I let that continue, it's going to be a huge problem.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's one of the skills as a trainer that's incredibly important.
Yeah. And I'm rethinking a lot of things, like just from the beginning, the mistakes I made with Brava, honestly, that make me want to go out and get a puppy so I can do it right the next time.
Yeah, I get it.
I mean, I have some ideas about how I want to do things differently. It's still, there's a lot of pieces that I could put together. I can retrofit and it's just, but I guess what I'm trying to say though, is that when we train a dog, it's kind of like sculpting, right? So we have this like blob of clay, right? And we're trying to like sculpt this dog. And sometimes it comes out and you're like, no, that doesn't look right. And so, but I guess what I'm trying to say is, like with Brava, sometimes I see things where I'm just like, I don't like how this has turned out and some of the things that we end up getting, but it doesn't mean that it's done. Like you're not putting it, you're not casting it or whatever. I don't know the right words. Like
you're
Crystal,
right. Yeah.
Fix me on that one.
You're good.
But you can go back, you can you can reshape stuff. That's the cool part, right? So, I'm doing a lot of different things now with, I'd like to try to reduce some of the frustration that she runs into. She gets frustrated very easily, but I don't necessarily know that is necessarily completely driven by personality. I think it's probably due to maybe some of my training choices initially. So, but the cool part is that as we start to mature as trainers, we can if we really can look at our dogs in very objective, just like from just kind of almost impartiality, right? And look at your dog and say, you know what? we could improve on this. And how do we do that? And what is our progression plan to get there? And that's the journey. That's the cool part,
Yes.
right? Is that it's not always, our journey isn't always, we start here, we end there. And it rarely is it a straight line. Sometimes you're taking detours, but the detours teach us. That's the cool part.
Yes.
I know we're totally off topic here, but
No, it's
like
not off topic at all.
these detours make us into a better trainer. It makes us all those detours when we start to learn the detours. Then that next puppy comes, we're like, well, I understand some of these detours, so I want to make some changes initially. Well, we're still going to have to make some detours because that's the journey.
It's a different dog.
It's a different dog. But it's the cool part about it, right? That's the cool part.
That's the like, wish, wonder part for me, because it's the part where I recognize the wish.
Yeah.
And that's when I start figuring out, okay, this is what I now want to do better. And that's where my desire comes in, because I'm constantly, I could do this better. I could do this better. I wonder if there's another way I should be looking at this. And I'm always curious about how is my dog thinking about this, or, why is it that they're reacting that way? And then I start to become more curious about how I'm moving or how I'm doing things. And so then manipulating the environment, and then it gives me an opportunity to teach more. So I think that's where that desire comes in. So even if you have a difficult dog, or the best dog in the world, you still have to have that desire and that curiosity. And I'm not saying like desire to be a national competitor. I'm talking like the desire to have two friendly dogs that go out of the back door together without murdering each other.
Whatever your desire is.
Yeah, just simple things. It's those wishes. Man, I wish this was easier. And then set a goal for yourself and go, okay, now I have to be curious. What can I do to make that better? And that all goes back to that desire. So no, it's totally on topic in my mind.
Totally. Well, for instance, actually, this is on topic because we were talking about like how you can have, that genetic package and you can, it can go bad too. So not that it like necessarily went bad, but well, I guess it was kind of containers with powder initially. That was pretty bad. That was, but I trained her the same way I trained my other dogs. So of course, logic would tell me I'd end up with the same result. No, right? I ended up with like, oh my gosh, we have to do something about this. But it goes back to your thing about I wish. And I'm like, I wish I had a beautiful alert behavior on these containers instead of worrying that she's going to like destroy it or send it flying 50 feet, which one or the other was likely, right? Or both. And so the cool part is that was my motivation, was that I wish. Right. And I wonder the I wonder was how I will go about doing it. And now, man, I have to tell you, I did a level 3 container trial with her yesterday.
And you liked it.
It was fun. It was fun. It was so much fun. I'm like, or actually at the elite trial last weekend, right? 60 containers out there. And I'm like, oh yeah, this is going to be fun. Right. So I was able to come to the search thinking, let's do this. Let's flex. And I'm calling it flex our container muscles. Cause I'm like, I'm like, it's showtime. Right.
Yeah.
But it took all that work. But now the cool part is because we had to take that detour, right? We took that detour so I could fix all that. And so now I have a talented dog who has really cool alerts on containers. Right. So now I'm looking at my other dogs going, well, except Brava's she's very passive alert. She's really, that's different. But I'm looking at Prize going, I wonder if we did the same thing with you, what we could get out of that. So it's a lot of that. It's cool, right? It's just a journey of training. And
I think when we start, because we're talking at a level, when you're buying purpose bred dogs to go do working dog work.
Yeah.
Or compete at higher levels. We're pre-selecting.
Yes.
Theoretically on genetics, all of this other stuff, it's all supposed to work. And you're this little bundle of joy arrives on your doorstep. That's going to pee all over your house. And you're like, okay, fantastic. But it's like, then all of a sudden, you went out and you got a border collie. Yeah. That's working quality border collie that I wanted to take, or a working quality Kelpie
Yeah.
that you want to take and I want to go do disaster work, or I want to go do, something else with this Kelpie. And the Kelpie's like, dude, sheep.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it's hard, but then you also have on the other side where people whose lives have gone through a little bit of a switch, and all of a sudden they're like, hey, I think I'd really like to do bite sports.
Yeah.
And they have I was going to say a poodle, but
poodles can do it well.
Poodles can do it well.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily about the breed.
Crystal and I both, I'm like, yeah, they could be good.
Right. So it's not necessarily about the breed. It's about
Yeah.
the temperament. And one of the ways that I describe this to people is like, not everybody wants to be an engineer.
Yeah.
Really, we don't all want to be engineers.
You don't?
No.
Actually, there were times in school I didn't want to be an engineer either. I'm like, can I please stop? Because I want to be a different major.
And here you are.
Yeah.
Here I'm a dog trainer. So yeah, I use it every day.
But not everybody wants to be a dentist either.
I wouldn't want to be a dentist.
Right. And so we forget that sometimes, we've bought this dog or we're getting this dog to do this game. And literally the dog may be like, no.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's hard.
Okay. But I'm curious, you used the word temperament. How is temperament and talent different for dogs?
So that's a really great question. I'm picturing in my head, I'm an engineer, right? I'm picturing so I'm picturing like a graph with different like XYZ axes, right? I know that's kind of horrible, but I'm kind of thinking about, you've got talent, which is the potential for developing a capability with ease and to a certain level. Then you have temperament, which is like a modifier, right? Which can then accelerate or decelerate how that talent is expressed. I think that's kind of how I see it.
Well,
Okay.
and I kind of look at it, you have talent. So I could have an incredibly athletic dog.
Yep.
Right? Super athletic, is a goat, climbs all over everything, does all sorts of things, but is in its temperament, meaning it does not have the emotional confidence or stability to be able to withstand like a FEMA deployment.
Right. Because you're talking helicopters and like the whole
and you're talking on a bus with a whole bunch of people you don't know, sleeping in tents, all this other stuff. It's cold and noisy and not all that really great fun. And, mom, dad is stressed, this whole thing. They just don't have the, because we're asking the dogs, talent, I look as raw kind of physical talent. And then you've got the temperament on the other side, which is how do they manage their arousal levels? How, all of this other stuff. It's the soft skills for dogs.
You mean the power skills?
The power skills, now that they're called power skills.
Okay. So temperament is their natural inclinations, right? So I'm thinking like temperament as their personality traits.
Responses, their natural, like their go-to response.
Yeah. So it's their personality traits or emotional tendencies. It's their tendencies that they're born with.
Yeah.
So if it's their innate characteristics, that's probably going to influence how they approach situations.
Yes.
And so then so then talent then, if I think, okay, so what's the opposite of talent? That helps me out.
Opposite of talent. Oh, you make my brain hurt, Crystal.
They don't have talent.
The lack of talent.
The lack of talent.
The opposite of talent.
Untalented.
So I think when I think about talent, I think the opposite to me is maybe unskilled or clumsy or
but let's think
inadequate?
about this. And it might be inadequate.
Is inadequate?
But let's think about it this way.
That's more like that's more to stats.
Now we're doing value judgments.
Yeah.
Right, now we're doing
or it's an
value
assessment of a
judgments.
skill that maybe you have or
So
have.
unskilled. So talented
Uns-
is unskilled.
No,
No,
So I
Because
mean
you
the
s-
opposite of talent.
no,
that's not talent. Because you can have a talented dog that's completely unskilled because you haven't trained it.
right.
Right. But if they're talented once you do train it. So
No.
the opposite of talent is unskilled and talent
No.
is skilled.
Nope.
No.
Nope. But you know what? Crystal's setting us up like that because she doesn't she
She's
knows
like doing, you guys can't see it, but she's got this little grinny thing going on.
Yeah,
And we're
we're
like, okay, so she's over there and we're struggling. And
Yeah.
she's like, look at you guys, you're on the struggle bus.
She's like,
I'm
"This
not
is
at all."
leading us along this road where we don't know where it is.
It's not that way at all.
And
I
she's got these little fingers going
Not at
as she's,
all.
yeah.
No, I'm really pondering this. I'm trying to in my brain work out
Sure you are.
this. No, because I am. Because when you said temperament, that got my brain tickled. So I'm thinking
Yeah.
about talent as being this natural ability, this aptitude. So I don't know what the opposite of talent is. I don't know that there is one. And that kind of tickles my brain a little bit.
Because I don't think it is. I think it's a scale.
Yes.
Right? It's a sliding scale. I think that's
But usually there's an opposite to everything. And it's the first word that's popped in my brain that I can't really find the opposite of.
I think it's just gradations. That's all it is. It's just gradations.
Okay, so temperament is something that is inherited or something that is it's innate. Okay, so then talent it's going to be for a particular skill versus
capacity. I think talent is capacity.
But would you say that talent can only happen if you practice and have experience?
No.
Oh, I got the word
What?
inaptitude. Because
That's
what's
4
amazing,
syllables.
I know what's amazing
looked it
is
up.
they
You
have,
looked it
I
up.
did.
I saw you going over and doing
I was
something.
going down the lane of like what a talented pianist might start out with as a child that you may not even know before they even started playing piano.
But can you say that person's talented if they haven't done it though? So they have to practice it in order to become talented. So talent has to be something that's done with experience and practice.
Well, but
I think that's when you discover you can figure out how talented they are, but I don't think.
well, and I look at this to a certain extent of, could I be a talented singer? Sure, I could be a talented singer if I put in all of the work, all of the things to be a talented singer. I could do it.
Okay, so you're then saying that everybody could be talented at something if you put in the work.
No.
I will never be a talented singer.
So you must have some sort of aptitude towards singing already.
Oh, I do.
Yeah, I think in some cases you just.
Okay, so now you got to sing.
No, I'm not singing.
I've already set myself up for that fact that I'm completely untalented as a singer.
No, but Robin said she's good, so now I got to hear.
Yeah, go for it.
I used to be good. Now I've yelled at the cows too much that it's not going to matter. But I think raw talent is one of those things that they have, like the physical, everything just comes naturally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Raw talent.
Yeah.
That's raw talent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you have talent, which is then skilled, because you can actually look at trainers a lot of the time or people, tap dancers. Oh my gosh, they're just naturally, some of them dancers, naturally coordinated, all sorts of things. I'm 5'11". I could be naturally coordinated all day long and I'm still going to look like a freaking scarecrow out doing stuff because I got really long legs and arms. And it's okay.
You can't do that to 2 really visual people.
No.
This may become one of my favorite episodes.
And hopefully nobody drives off the road. But anyway. But, I may have
the visual.
Can I get better with a lot of training and a lot of repetitive practice and all those sorts of things? Absolutely. I can have talent, but I'm not necessarily talented.
It's hurting my head.
I know. And then you have trainers that are in the same way, because you can look at people and you'll be like, you know what? You're not a natural trainer.
Yep.
When I started, was not a natural trainer.
No, yeah, well, you don't know that.
Well, I can tell you that because
You may have been unskilled,
I was
but
unskilled. Absolutely.
to be as good as you are right now,
You had a
I
talent
would
for it.
argue
Yeah.
I
that
had
you
a
had
talent for it. But it's also a mechanical skill. So it's hand-eye coordination.
But there's also the art side of it to get to the
Yes.
level.
Yeah, there is. All of it takes, so
Yeah.
we start talking about this talent stuff and skills and, all of those things. And it can actually be really complicated. And I think one of the things I want people to take away from this is the process has to bring you joy.
Yes. Okay. I was about to say that this is actually becoming not one of my favorite episodes because my head is.
I'm really sorry about that. I think part of what I was feeling too,
I'm just kidding.
I'm trying to think of, there's a poster that they had like in the PE for a while in the PE area. And it was, these are the things that it doesn't take practice to have. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
like
showing up on time.
Yeah. Show up on time and, but it's like a whole bunch of things. There was something about that poster that always bothered me. And I shared it the first time it came around. So I was like, yeah, these are all things you can get better at.
Yeah.
But it kind of made me feel icky.
Yeah. Yeah, it does.
And
Right.
I think the icky side of it is it's that if you practice more, it's all under your control that, and I think a lot of people have a lot of guilt for their lack of success.
Yeah.
And I would love to be a dancer. I would love it. I love watching So You Think You Can Dance. And I would love to feel what they feel. But I know that that's not in my wheelhouse.
But it's depressing if you feel like you're not going to get there. Exactly.
Yeah, it's not in my wheelhouse. And it's not something that I'm actually going to go pursue because I can't even touch my toes. I'm so inflexible. It would not be pretty.
Touch your toes?
Oh, no, I'm so stiff. And especially after Lyme disease, everything in my body tightened.
Oh, okay.
And so I'm so inflexible. And it doesn't matter how hard I would try, but I don't like that feeling that poster kind of gave me where it's like, I'm not trying hard enough.
So even if you're not touching your toes, I have seen you throw a ball.
Yeah, I have other skills.
Are Brava's dream. She just thinks. And then when I've seen you with a chuck it and I'm like, okay, that went 3 miles.
And that was a talent that I built that I really had to build. Like I had an incredible arm. That was
Yes,
one thing. I mean, that was something that we would play burnout in the side yard with my dad. It would be throw as hard as you can. And that was something that I had an aptitude for. And sports, I had an aptitude for that. And I think about even like dog selection, like Robin talked about how, Janie picked one dog and you said somebody else picked, what did you say? Somebody picked one of your other dogs. But I know that you've picked quite a few of your dogs. Moses. It was Moses. Yeah.
Moses. Yeah. Moses, I just inherited. Moses. They, because he, the day I got Moses, literally, I should have bought a lottery ticket.
Yeah.
Because he was a jackpot dog.
But when you think about the talented dogs, what do you see in a talented dog?
Yeah.
For detection.
Well, and this is one of those things. This is why we have those weird, funky things. And we went down that particular rabbit hole of temperament tests. And nobody out in podcast land can see the quoting I'm doing with my fingers. And, we're testing the dog's aptitude for certain particular things, but it doesn't mean, because, I could have gotten, and you could get a dog that has the aptitude to do everything that you want it to do and still squash it.
Yes.
But for you guys, what does a talented dog look like? Is that in the process of it? But I'm thinking not just at the end, not that survivorship thing, of the dog that survived that training method, but from the beginning to the middle to the end, like what is it that sets the dog apart in your world?
I just keep going back to like when I picked. See, I didn't actually pick Brava or Powder, right? So Brava was picked for me and I adore her. Powder was the only female and I was on the list for a female and I showed up and she was awesome. I picked Prize, right? And what I look for with her is she actually showed problem solving skills that were pretty incredible just as a tiny puppy when I went up to see her. But where my head went was that she's perfect for what I want. And honestly, she'd be perfect for a lot of working type of like working detection in a lot of capacities, but she would not have made a good FEMA dog because she, even though she's highly athletic, this is where I was kind of thinking about with Robin, right? She's highly athletic. I mean, she can jump 5-6 feet straight in the air, but she is not like the idea of climbing with her is not second nature. I would have to work really hard to get her to do a lot of climbing because that's just not in her nature. But she's hugely talented when it comes to searching. And for me, she doesn't have to do all that. And she could have done a lot of different types of, even probably a lot of professional detection. She's a nice working quality dog, but probably not anything where you're like having to, like rubble, probably not for her, but it doesn't mean she's not talented.
Right. It's just that that's not her career path.
Right.
And it's okay.
Exactly.
Right.
She didn't have to have it. So it didn't matter to me.
Right.
Yeah. It didn't matter to me because I don't need it.
And, we have temperament tests to pick out these things for the puppies.
Yeah.
But a lot of those of us who've gotten to that point, it's great. But we work with a lot of people who are trying to do the thing with the dog that they have because they love this dog.
Yeah.
And it's totally okay.
This whole circle to the
right, which goes back to talent and desire.
Yep.
And
so a talented dog trainer.
A talented dog trainer can only bring out so much in a dog that doesn't have the talent or the desire to do the thing that the trainer wants it to do.
But what does a talented dog trainer look like in your world? What characteristics do they possess?
Boof. That's like a whole nother episode.
Yeah.
I mean, because
I think we're at the table that question.
Yeah, that's
really?
Okay. For next time.
Really? You can't just like throw out a list?
No.
Like, what are some things?
Sorry.
No.
Really?
I'm going to side with Stacy on this one. Where that's like another episode.
I'm just going to shut that down right now because that's a whole this rabbit hole.
Welcome to my world.
I know, right?
So it's funny that we're having this conversation because you asked us that question and you, podcast land, can't see us both have this horrified look on our face of what you just asked us.
But she's tricky like that.
So if you think about this, we could tell you what a good trainer is not really fast.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's almost like the question when you ask somebody, what's a good boss? What's a good leader?
We could say, well, I could tell you what
I can tell you that right now.
Right. I mean, but you have some of those, but that's kind of in the concept of what's a good trainer.
But not good, talented. There's a difference, right?
Talented.
I'm telling you, that's another episode.
I would still say, what's a talented leader look like?
Yeah. That's the same thing. It's probably the same thing.
Well, do you want me to go through my list that popped in my head?
You go right ahead.
Sure, go for it.
Or do you want to?
Yeah.
Or do you want to table it?
No, it's all you. It's all you.
Go.
All you.
You.
Go.
All right. So here's what I'm imagining, because we had a really talented leader a couple principals ago. Not that the one now isn't great, but just whatever. I hope my coworkers don't listen. I'm thinking about that human, and what I sensed was there was an expertise. So that person, okay, I'll think about dog trainers, but I'll kind of like keep him in mind. There was extensive knowledge. Like I always felt like they knew their stuff. So that's part of talent because it's also part of that drive and that desire. Am I good so far?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I'm thinking a talented dog trainer in my world, they would have dog behavior. They would know training techniques. They would know how to read a dog. So communication. So that I think is all kind of part of their expertise. I think a talented trainer has to have immense amount of patience. That's one that I think is just super important. They have to work with all of the dogs. They have to work with the people. I don't care where they are. You're not in a bubble. So you have to have patience. And I think I go back to what Tazzy said, and I think empathy becomes really, really important. You got to understand, you got to empathize with the dog's needs, the people's needs, your emotions. Did I say communication skills yet? Did I say that one? I think I
It's
said that
okay,
one.
but you can say them again because they're really important.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So communication skills, and that's where I think with other people and also with this other creature. And I think that's where if you really are going to be talented, you have to be able to communicate effectively. And that's going to be through using techniques because we went to different seminars, we're bringing in different ideas. And so I think that curiosity piece and that adaptability piece, that's what's going to also help you become a better communicator. So having multiple words that mean out, but out means I'm going to do this behavior and this other out means I'm going to trade for food. And so you can't be afraid to try something new. So I think there's that creativity piece that comes in, which I'm really high on that one. And that creativity, imagination. You know what? I think professionalism is part of talent as well.
Yes.
Yeah, I told you this could be a whole episode.
It is. Okay.
Yeah.
So what else? What else?
Yeah.
You know what? Okay, one more.
Okay.
You got to love dogs.
Yes.
I don't think there's a talented trainer out there that doesn't love dogs.
And I think you at least have to like people.
Yes.
Yeah, but that's part of the professionalism and the
Right.
patience. I mean, that all of that. I mean, I'm just,
Even if you just like them just a little bit.
Just a little bit. Yeah.
and the
just a little
things
bit.
that I'm listing off
Yes.
are all qualities that I see in both of you. And that's where I just got that list from.
Oh,
Oh,
you're sweet.
you're awesome.
Oh,
Because-
I'm wearing a pink shirt and now my face is the same color.
Because I was picturing our principal, and then it was like, you know what? I'm just going to look at the two people in front of me and list the things that I know about them.
Oh.
Back at you.
I know. I was like, holy cow.
Ah.
Oh, teary-eyed. Yeah.
I think you're both
So-
very talented trainers, and it's so easy when you can picture what a talented trainer looks like and you can see them in front of your face and you can go, this is what I see these people do.
As I was channeling you today during a client,
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm trying to be Crystal in my head
Yeah.
because I need her training talent here right now for this thing. So right
Yeah.
back at you, sister.
Exactly.
Thanks, friend. So yeah, that's talent. And I think desire, you have to have it. So yeah, I hope that was an
Yeah.
okay topic for y'all.
It was very
kinda-
good.
Threw you into it.
Yeah.
So Stacy, did it end a little better? Are you a little less angry about the you said it wasn't your
no, I wasn't
favorite?
angry. I was just like, my head was exploding and I'm like, feeling frustration at my brain.
And with a little positive reinforcement.
Yes. So everybody, if you have topic ideas, we have a huge list, right? But if you have topic ideas, please let us know through a Facebook post or send us an email or something like that. We love getting topics from you guys. We greatly appreciate actually all the love we've been getting on some of the social media channels has been amazing. So thank you for that. And we look forward to joining you again soon. So go train.
Canine Detection Collaborative! We appreciate the time you spend with us. If you liked this episode, not only should you follow us so you don't miss the next one, but please also rate and review us in your favorite podcast app. For info on collaborating with us, go to K9DetectionCollaborative.com. That's K9 DetectionCollaborative.com, where you can find our socials and pick up our latest monthly freebie. Join us again to talk training in the next episode.